It's the Kink Consultant Podcast, where we're turning up the heat on all things kink and dating, relationships, and pop culture. So close the door, plug in your headphones, and let's get down to it.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of The Kink Consultant, and back by popular demand, literally requested in my Ask Me Anything Mondays, Brenda, my Biz Dom. Welcome back, Brenda.
Hi.
I just have to say, I think you must be doing your job really well, not because I had you back on the podcast, because I feel like this year things have taken off. Like,
Really?
I
That's
do.
good.
Obviously, well, we're still working together, so I can't be that bad. Things are
Yay!
good. We've been through so much together. Okay. So I end things with a German. I have to admit this, and I hate this about myself. I ended it by text. And I was too embarrassed to even say it back then. And I look back on that, and it was a moment where I realized, like, I never want to do that again. I do not want to end a relationship by text. I end by text. We play a game of pickleball like that weekend, and then we never speak again. Except on October 9th, he sent me a birthday text out of nowhere. But anyway, I broke up with him at the beginning of summer. I was more upset than I wanted to admit. I spent the entire summer traveling back and forth to New York, just basically doing whatever I felt like. Too much partying, too much fun, but it was all good, you know?
You need that after a breakup, though. You need that release almost to like.
We dated for
have
2
some fun.
months. I partied for 3 months. Like, no. But the end of the summer comes, my Labor Day weekend spanking party comes up. I sign up for a volunteership with my friend. We sign up for this specific shift, and I have to get to the party before this shift starts because I have to sign in, get my badge so I can work the door shift, like making sure everyone who enters has a badge or whatever. I do that. I walk up to the bar because there are these free drink tickets, and this man who's sitting at the bar turns to me and says, "You have a gorgeous smile."
Oh.
I've spent the last 3 months partying and having a good time and flirting with like half of New York.
Yeah.
So the man is very handsome. I do not get me wrong. He is very handsome, but I'm like, ugh, of course I have a gorgeous
know.
smile. I know. I'm an asshole. I don't even know who I am. Like, I also don't know where that confidence came from. It was just sort of like, oh, that's cute. He tells me a little bit about how he ended up at the party, which is totally normal. We all have these conversations. And he was like, my best friend, I came with her. And I know the best friend because these communities are so small. I know everyone. So later, she comes up to me at the same bar and she's like, oh, blah, 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 my best friend. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I met him. Then I go work my shift. I volunteer. I don't pay a lot of attention to it. So best friend girl texts me and she says, hey, was really great to see you. Would love to hang out this weekend. Text me. We could go to dinner, blah, blah. By the way, best friend boy would like to play with you. And that's like a platonic, like just spanking, right? So
Okay.
I play it cool because I'm like, okay, well, that would be fun, but I don't actually think that much about it because this weekend is full of drama. I am so excited to spend it with all of my friends and everybody's arguing with their boyfriend or girlfriend. I'm the single one. All of my coupled up, like booed up friends are fighting with each other. So I'm alone so much of this, like, because everyone's in their room fighting and arguing.
Oh no.
And I'm just like, I have no one to hang out with. So I text best friend girl. This is the day after. I'm like, what are you doing for lunch? And she was like, actually, we're just about to head out to this restaurant near the hotel called Nacho Daddy, like aptly named for like the group of people going. And I don't ask about the boy because I want to play it cool. But then he shows up and he's like coming. And secretly, I'm like, oh my God, I'm so glad he's here. Publicly, I barely look at him because God forbid I stare at him and make it obvious I like him. Very long story short, it's like a 10-minute walk to the restaurant. He's not walking with me. Apparently, best friend girl at some point is like nudging him, being like, go walk next to her. And he's like, don't interrupt my game. I've got this. And we get to the restaurant. I talked about this in my episode with him, but we get to the restaurant. Best friend girl unties his shoes, right? And he's being all dominant and what I would consider a little arrogant, but whatever, telling her to retie his shoes. And she doesn't do it. So he bends down to tie his shoes. And I feel that he's been far too arrogant and needs to be taken down a notch. So I walk over to nudge him, hoping he'll fall over, but instead of falling over, he throws me over his shoulder and stands up from his kneeling position. And it was just the most flirty, cute, meet cute situation. I mean, we had met and talked, but from that moment on, I was like, instantly, I'd like I wasn't in subspace, but I was like, that was so fun. I laughed really hard. And it sort of took me out of the moment of like, all my friends are fighting. There's so much drama. This isn't a great party, to be like, I'm going to have fun. So, of course, we played into the fact that like I had to be spanked for doing that. And
Yeah.
later that night, we went for a walk, and it was so charged of like, romantically, sexually, like I was so into him. He put his hand on my back as we like maneuvered through the crowds on Fremont Street, which is like old Vegas area,
Okay. Okay.
very crowded, and I was just like so into him. I have to say there are a couple of things. The only thing that we did that weekend was spank. I have a very firm rule at these parties. I don't do anything sexual because I'm like, I'm going to be going to these parties for a long time. We
Yeah.
obviously have multiple stories of different men that I've had very fun experiences with all weekend long at these parties. And it was important to me that I never had sex with any of them. I'm going to tell you, that was never a struggle until this one, because I was like, oh, I really want to be with him.
Yeah.
But we held it off until the Sunday night of the party. He brings me back to his room and he's like, look, I think there's something here between us, but I do not want long distance. So if we were to pursue something, one of us would have to move to the other. Meanwhile, all weekend, my whole personal drama is that I have to renew my lease in Vegas. I don't know if I want to stay in Vegas or go to Europe and travel, or like, because I live a wonderful free life where I can do whatever I want. So
Yeah.
I look at him and I like roll my eyes because I'm like, oh, well, like obviously I'd be the one to move, but I agree there's something here. I do want something more. Let's try it out. We agree that we are going to visit each other in a few weeks. I'm going to travel to meet him in, listen, I didn't grow up in the United States. My geography is not great. He says he's from Kansas City. Logically, I thought that was, in Kansas, but no. Fun fact, it's a city that's
It's not.
split in half of it's in Kansas, but the other half is in Missouri. It's a crashing realization that I am about to travel to Missouri and like start considering moving to Missouri. I cannot tell you how not politically aligned I am with this state, how I have been loving life. And like in my mind, my options for life are sunny Vegas or Italy. Like I'm literally thinking of these two places. I am not thinking of Kansas City, Missouri. I also pull up a map because I have never once been interested in the geography of the middle of America. Like I know
Yeah.
what states are. I think I can like name them, but I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like the very center of the country. Like if you folded America in half and then in half again, you would not be that far from Kansas City. So I'm like,
Yeah.
this is the Midwest. Do you know what I know about
Yeah.
the Midwest? It's cold.
What's that? It's cold. I was going to say winter tires.
I'm going to flash forward this story. Like lots of ups and downs, lots of arguing, lots of traveling between Kansas City and Vegas. Flash forward to where I am right now, sitting in my office in his house in Kansas City, Missouri, where I now live. So that's
For
like,
all of you at home, this is me applauding, saying, what a story.
so I meet him August 29th. By March 29th, I am living here in Kansas City. So I feel we moved fast.
Yeah. Listen, you want to know fast? Okay, my husband and I, we met working at a restaurant together. He was a kitchen guy. He was a line cook. I was a server. There's always that tension between the back of the house and the front of the house.
Yes.
But
Yes.
I think I've said this story. Like the first words that we ever said to each other was me telling him to F off because he told me how to say something different. But honest to God, from the time that we met and decided that like we like each other to the time that we moved in together was 3 months. 3 months.
But okay, were you together all of the days between that?
No,
Oh, okay. Why
no.
not?
I was the one that went on to him or came on to him. It was his very last day at the restaurant. Restaurant staff, you get together all the time. You have drinks, all that stuff. We never really associated with each other, but we chit-chatted from time to time. Long story short, I gave him my number. It was his last day. He was literally on his way out. And I went with a napkin and I said, hey, it's going to be my birthday soon. I want you to come out with me. And he's like, okay. So I gave him my napkin. And sure enough, he ended up calling me literally the next day. Within 2 or 3, 4 days, I don't remember how long the time was. But yeah, my birthday, I went out with my girlfriends. He showed up that night. We kissed. And it was like, all right, well, we're together now. And it just kind of kept going.
Well, yeah, isn't it funny when it just happens like that of like, oh, we're together now?
Yep, it
But
is what it is.
it also kind of comes out of nowhere. Did you ever look back and think, oh, I wanted to be single for longer?
Yes, I will say at the beginning it was crazy, but I wouldn't know until like years later. I will say I didn't really have those thoughts because you don't think of that in the moment. But maybe it's because I was just so happy.
I didn't think about it in the moment. I did have a girlfriend. She's mid 60s. And she told me during the summer, during my party time of like, I want to meet someone, blah, blah, blah. I was 36 at the time. She was like, you will meet someone and you will spend 40 plus years with him. What is the
Yeah.
rush? What is wrong with staying single until you're
Yeah.
40? Or whatever.
For sure.
And I listened to her, but at the same time, I was like, whatever. And then I did have a moment of when I was packing up all my stuff, giving up living alone in a house, a life that I built for myself. I was really having that moment of, am I actually ready to go into another long-term relationship? Remember, prior to this, less than a year before this, or about a year before meeting him, I was engaged, ex-fiance, decided to sell our house, and like my life was unraveling as I knew it. My full-time job at Peacock, NBC's streaming service, had gone away because they wanted me to come back into office. I was like, no, I'm going to make the King Consultant my full-time thing. And I'm so glad I did. I don't have any regrets, but like my life unraveled less than a year
360.
beforehand. And then I just like am going into something serious again. And that felt a little fast. However, the reason I bring that up is, so I'm in a 24/7 Dom sub relationship. Everything I ever wanted, someone who shares my exact same kinks. It's amazing. It's everything I ever wanted. I wouldn't change this for the world, except I feel like I gave up a lot and he understands and respects that sacrifice. But like, here I am rebuilding my life again. So 3 years ago, not even a full 3 years ago, I moved from New York City to Vegas, bought a house there, got engaged while I lived there. And then all of that falls apart. So I rebuilt my life in this year that I'm single.
Yeah.
And then here I am in Kansas City, gray skies, like so different from my life in Vegas. I mean, in Vegas, there were some of the most amazing hiking spots around me. Everywhere I went, I could do something outdoor that was fun. Here, there's less good weather to do those things. It's gray all the time. I have no friends here except for him and his friends, and I'm just reinventing myself, and it's really hard. Like, I cry every day. I am struggling right now through rebuilding my life for what feels like third time in 3 years.
Yeah.
It was one thing to move to Vegas with my partner and rebuild my life, and then we broke up and my job like went away. I could have kept the job had I moved back to New York or LA. So I rebuilt then, and now I feel like here I am in Kansas City. This is my third time in 3 years rebuilding my life.
Yeah.
And one of the scariest things to me is I loved living in New York and thought I didn't want to leave. And I was excited to move to Vegas. And then in Vegas, I love living in Vegas. I thanked God every single day for the sun. I was like, I'm so happy here. I love the weather. I love my life here. Even through the breakup, I was like, I want to be here. And now I'm rebuilding my life in a place that I can honestly say I actively knew I never wanted to live. Like, at no point did I ever want to be here. I wasn't even sure we could record today because I was crying. Like an hour before we met for our actual meeting, not the recording, I was like tearing up. I was like, no, Amanda, we cannot do this. So I went out, got myself some coffee. That's why we had to start our meeting late. I was like, let me just go try something new. Let me just go get myself out of this funk, reset, and come to the meeting. And then we had a lovely actual meeting, talked real stuff, and worked hard. And now we're recording.
It sounds like to me that you need a healthy dose of what my friend Meryl calls delightable. Basically, the concept is she finds all of these things in her life that make her happy, and she reminds herself to be happy with all of these little things. It's not just one thing that's going to make you happy. Moving there is not going to make you happy. But what she likes to do is surround herself with all of her little tchotchkes or things that make her happy. So, for example, when she works, and I know you do this, when she's in her office, she has a little lip balm and she has hand cream, and then she has this cute little dinosaur that's like a little toy. It means nothing. Like, if you and I look at it, we have no idea why is there a dinosaur in that photo? Well, guess what? That photo represents my wedding and the union with me and my husband. You have no idea what that means, but that photo means so much to me. It's a delightable. That mug that I absolutely love, or that collection of mugs that I have, that's a delightable. So by finding all of these little bits and pieces and surrounding yourself with it, it's almost like reminders of love. It's reminders of joy, of all the things that make you feel delightful inside.
I'm working on it. Okay, so positive. I lived in a 4-bedroom house to myself. And my cousin
Yeah.
actually asked when I moved in, he was like, why did you do that? And I said, because I'm a princess and I deserve to be in a castle.
Fucking right.
Yeah. Okay. So what I did was I created this space. My partner painted it this like beautiful pink color. The color is called Fuchsia Forward. And my 3 spare bedrooms, one was a podcast room, one was my office, and the third was a guest room. So what I did was I made this my office, my podcast room. The podcast part hasn't come together yet, and then bought a day bed that I can also lay on. So it's sort of like a third space. So this picture, people have seen it before. I bought this at Home Goods. It is nothing fancy, but I bought it because it's quite sapphic. It reminds me of vaginas. So I'm like,
I'm like, I just see a bunch of vaginas.
exactly. So I was like, let me like vagina picture in like full color. So love that. And I'm just sort of making the space my own. We got a very affordable storage space. So like things I didn't want to part with exist now in a storage space that I can always go back to and grab stuff from because it's pretty easy to like get around. It's pretty organized. But anyway, so that's a lot of my decor. So I'm making this space my own. I feel that. On my Ask Me Anything Monday yesterday, people asked me like some of the best questions. They were, what are you excited about in your city? And I just realized like not a lot. And I need that to change, but it's hard and it's even harder. Sadly, my mom fell and hurt herself. So I am going to Ireland tomorrow, which is insane. This time tomorrow, I'm going to be on a flight to Ireland to hang out with her and just sort of help her out as the daughter who gets to work for herself. That just like slows down the process of meeting new people. I got on Instagram and I found out all the like how to make friends in Kansas City. I signed up to something called like Time Left, something else called Real Roots. I was like, I'm going to get coffee with people and join these groups. And now that's all being held off by like a few weeks, which is hard. And then I have the cruise coming up. Do you remember I'm going on a kinky cruise?
Yes. I'm excited to hear all the stories that come from this. Yeah, there's a lot going on in the next little while. So
I know. And then I feel bad because when I moved in with my partner, the first thing I said to him was like, I love to travel. You need to be okay with that. My ex hated that I traveled. He didn't like to travel, but I would be gone and he'd be really annoyed and want me to come home. And I just sort of ignored him. I think in every breakup, you sort of learn how you could have acted better or been better. And I think that like the value of me enjoying traveling was important. So I talked to him about it and he was like, that's really fine. I'm good with that. My only request would be that you're not gone 50% of the month. I was like, totally fair. Except what do? I'm here less than 2 weeks and I book a 2-week flight to Ireland. So I'm like,
okay, but this is like it wasn't a planned situation,
And one of the things we appreciate most about each other is we will always show up for our friends and family. And it's not even a question. And that means so much to me. And that's very different from my ex of if my friends or family need me, I am there. And he's very respectful of that because he's the exact same way. If someone needs something, he shows up. So we just like see that in each other and we accept it and jealousy doesn't come into play there. It's just sadness of like, oh, he hates that I have to leave for 2 weeks.
We started this conversation off talking about like changes and how there's been a shit ton of change over the last year. I recognize that you have said it multiple times that you're sad, that you're, you kind of feel weird about being in this new situation. But I'm a strong believer that things happen for a reason. And like without going in that toxic positivity shit, but I genuinely believe that our life needs to explode in order to make room for what the new stuff, the good stuff, all of it. I sent you that photo of my money tree. I went away. My money tree, everyone, FYI, was 5 feet tall. Okay? She's a big girl. I've had her for a very long time. I've nurtured and loved this girl. And something happened. And every single leaf fell off of my money tree. And if you know me and Amanda, we have a little woo-woo in us. So I panicked, right? I went into this massive panic that every single petal of my money tree went away. And I went on vacation, a much needed vacation with my family. And I came back to new buds. It was almost like I needed it all to just go away and then come back and start new vacation. You know what I mean? Rested from a vacation, ready to go. And so now I'm looking at it, there's literally 12 new buds on that plant. Things need to happen. Those petals need to fall. Shit needs to explode before you can get the real stuff. And I know it sounds a little scary. Shit's happening. That's not in your control right now, but it's for good. I really do think of it. Because think of all the things that we've talked about. Now you're able to actually take this business to a whole other level because you are in this situation. You're able to help more people. You're able to actually go out there and do the things that you want to do and love to do because we're in this new situation. So,
and then I am happy with my partner, like every single day, I'm so grateful to be here with him because we had to spend so long being long distance. And he is my bright spot, but I'm very aware of the fact that I cannot just rely on him to be my happy place here. I need to go create my own, and he is worth doing that for.
Yeah.
And there was just no question. Like, my job is so flexible. He is born and raised here. So his life is so firmly here. He has a big family here. I would never want to take him away from this, except for I'm like, can we like split time? Can we like be 50% Vegas, 50% here? Because I like Vegas that much. I also am a firm believer in speaking things into existence. So last night I said to my mom, if you don't need surgery, not bed rest even, she needs someone there to help
Chill.
her. I was like, you know what fixes everything that ever goes wrong for me? I said, a trip to Paris. I've been to Paris 8 or 9 times. I grew up in Europe, though, so it was really like Ireland to Paris, not a long trip. I was like, we should go to Paris. So I said that to her, and she said, I'd be down as long as I don't need surgery. I was like, perfect. Then this morning, Rosenfeld, who is this artist I absolutely love, he's French. He follows me back on Instagram. I've been following him and obsessed with him. If you listen to any of my Spotify playlists that I make for kink and BDSM stuff, his songs are so sexy. He follows me back. And my goal is to have him on the podcast at some point. And I message him. And we've messaged back and forth a little bit before because I've asked him to be on the podcast. He was like, when I have new music, I'll come on. I'm like, please just cut. Like, we don't need new music. The music you have now is good enough. Let's go. I mean, I love his music right now. So I'm a little cheeky. I'm like, oh, I might be in Paris within the next 2 weeks. Are you in Paris or LA? And he's like, Paris. And I'm like, let's grab coffee. And he's like, yeah, I can make time. So I'm like speaking it into the universe that if I end up in Paris, which we don't know at the time of this recording, whether I will or not, how fun would it be to go meet him in Paris? Like, it's just a weird timing thing. I've been following him for well over a year, probably 2 years now on Instagram, and he finally follows me back out of nowhere for no reason. I'm like, hello, universe. Thank you.
Exactly. And like, there's been so many moments where you and I, even in our business, right? Like listeners, we've literally lit candles for like prosperity and all sorts of
I do so many woo things. Brenda, that's the one thing I haven't figured out. Like, where is going to be my woo corner here? I literally don't have space for all my candles and fun witchy things. So right now they're just on a shelf. I need to figure that out.
Maybe this is it. Yeah, like maybe once we figure out all the little bits and pieces like that, you know, like that's a delightable. Where do we put all of these things?
I know, but it's all going to come together. I've said I'm sad many times. I think it's because this is not a feeling I'm super used to.
I will disagree on that one. We've been together for almost 3 years, you know, like I've seen you go through ups and downs. I think this is a different kind of sad. Your system is dysregulated. Your system is still trying to figure out where's my center. It's not really ready. It doesn't know where to go because it doesn't have a home base. So I guarantee you, once you start putting the pieces together in the office, finishing that stuff off and like making his home your home, you will start to feel a lot better. I really do think so.
It's crazy though, because also I do feel his home is my home, and I went from sort of being like, well, it's not my home that was totally decorated entirely by me. Everything I wanted was where I wanted it. And then I was a little harsh on him because his home was just the most
boy home.
The most boy home. This office that I'm sitting in right now had some sort of Star Wars 6-foot mannequin. I walked into the garage today and I was like, I didn't even realize this was still here in the vicinity. I thought this man, before I shut up, got this huge dumpster and got rid of a bunch of stuff. And I'm like, why didn't this go in the dumpster? I haven't seen him yet. I need to ask him this. I'm like, you had a whole dumpster and you didn't think this was prime for the dumpster? Like,
I'm in love with this man already. Like, this is hilarious.
I know.
This is so good.
I'm just proud of myself. I even know who Darth Vader is, even though he's not like popular. Yeah. Anyway, my point is, it was a bachelor pad. Like, the couches are all dark brown leather. Like, he has style. I will give him that. I like someone who makes choices and commits to a bit, and he's like, this is my house. This is how it's decorated. But it's just, we could not be more opposite in the way we decorate. He's much more partner focused of like, how do we feel like we're both in this? Like, and we're both represented here. And I'm like, how do I convince you to make it exactly how I want it? I think I'm learning a lot about relationships. This man is amazing. He does many amazing things. My only complaint is our styles do not match.
What's his sign? Is he like super polar opposite from you?
Sign-wise?
Or is it the same sign that we have promised each other that we weren't going to go down that line.
No, no, no,
Okay.
no, no. He's not. This is the first man I've ever loved who was
Pisces?
not a Pisces. Every man I've ever loved was a Pisces until this one.
You broke the
Enter
cycle.
the chat
Well done.
Sagittarius. Like, he's a Sagittarian. He will not tell me the time he was born. He's like not into all this woo-woo stuff, but he's like, no, what if you find
He
out
doesn't
all
want you
these
to
bad
know.
things? He's worried that I'll find out we're not meant to be with each other, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, I don't even know the time I'm born, which is such an inconvenience. However, I know he was born here in Kansas City, and I know the day and year he was born. So I'm like,
Go to public records. I'm sure we can find something.
yeah, if there's any astrologists out there. I one time went to an astrologist who I didn't have a different ex's time of birth, and he was into astrology. He just didn't know what time he was born. She like looks at this book. Her name's Anne Ortley, and she looks at this book and she's like, was his mother like this or was his mother like that? And I said, his mother was like that. And she said, then he was born around this time. And later we found out the time of birth and it was accurate enough. And I was like, oh crap, I need to call Anne Ortley again or something and find out information like this.
This is interesting because like my first thought earlier, you started talking about him and some of the things he's doing. I'm like, oh no, don't tell me he's a Pisces because then this is like doomed. So I'm super happy.
I would never do a Pisces again. However, I'm convinced every good Dom I've ever met used Android phone. And he's an Android user. I'm an iPhone user. I will be for the rest of my life. You will never get me to change. I don't care how good the camera is. I don't give a crap. I love my iPhone. He's an Android user though. And that's, for me, if someone pulls out an Android, I'm like, well, you're probably a really good Dom. That's my takeaway. Like,
I have a Google phone, so this is hilarious.
Yes, that's why. Yes, of course, my Biz Dom would be an Android user, although it would be much more convenient if you were an iPhone user, but
never happening ever.
So I guess every man I've ever loved was, because I didn't love the German. No matter what happened, he was an iPhone user, but a Pisces. But like, yes, long track record. Brenda, you weren't just my Biz Dom. There are many people in the sex coaching space who you Biz Dom for. So then we started to know a lot of the same people too, which added a different layer to it.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like being in an office again when you're in this space and you know so many people. Because again, just like the Svenko community, the sex educator space is pretty small as well. In fact, sometimes I come across on Instagram another educator who has tons of followers, and followers don't matter, but I'm sort of like always shocked. And it doesn't happen as frequently anymore, whereas sometimes out of nowhere I'll see someone and I'm like, oh, I didn't know who this person was. I need to reach out to them to have them on the podcast. And like, it's just refreshing.
It's nice. I mean, this space too, like it is hard, like we're turning into business stuff. But like when we're doing sex education, a lot of the part is like socials and trying to figure out and getting people to be educated. And I find that this space lately has been very, very hard. There's a lot of censorship happening, especially with all the shit that's happening in our world. And it's been difficult to help you guys get out there, get reach and figure out and like help people, you know? So I love that you are in this podcast space because it's the one place that and Substack. It's those two spaces where I'm finding for anybody who's out there listening, you really want to get a good education without any of the censorship. It's finding really good podcasts and finding really good Substack articles. We're able to actually talk about the stuff we want to talk about here. So that's fun. I like it.
I want to give a PSA, like to your point, Balesa Co. I've done vibrator brand sponsorship deals with them. I love them. I personally do not love standing in a video with a vibrator, but I have done it because remember the end of last year, I went on that journey of trying to find a vibrator I liked, and I did find some, but I've sort of moved away from that because it was like, I just didn't love all the comments I got about it. So I was like, you know what, this is, it doesn't feel good for me to open my app and dread what people are saying to me about like a video, and it felt creepy and invasive. However, I've worked with Balesa. I've taken photos. They've sponsored some of my videos before. They have one of the funniest Instagram, over 700,000 followers. They got banned for using the word clit. 700,000 followers gone. I believe they're starting a class action lawsuit against it.
But not everybody has access to cash to be able to go and do those types of things, to do a lawsuit.
I'm worried because they no longer exist. Then they created another account called Balesa Censored to say like, hey, and they got 50,000 followers, and then that was banned. And then from what I understand of other people who go through this, sometimes they'll ban your startup account because they're being like, well, you're circumnavigating. But also they were using that account to get people together for a class action lawsuit. I just want to talk about that. Censorship is so wrong. It was a community for women. And their point is, how dare you let all of these erectile dysfunction medicines say whatever you want? And Balesa had spent ad money. with Meta. And it's just this really fucked up situation that is pissing me off. It makes me nervous. Every morning, the first thing I do is check Instagram to see if I'm still on there
You're still
because
there.
I'm scared to say the things I want to say. I don't make as much content anymore because I feel it's hard to be authentic.
And you're not the only one. This whole industry is saying these exact same things. And I'm working with people that are not just sex and relationship coaches. I'm dealing with therapists who deal with these types of things. I'm dealing with more or less women who are just wanting to educate people. I'm not talking about how to do a blowjob here. I'm talking about safety. I'm talking about making sure that your kink specifically, like let's talk about how to be safe in your kink, how to actually teach different things. Like it's literally education and not let's say the vulgar stuff that Meta thinks it is.
Yes.
Very big on the quotation marks here, because we're just trying to educate. And it's really, really sad. This whole industry, I think, is very much in this same boat. And we're all struggling to figure out how do we get this content out there. So anybody listening, if you really want this, like spaces like this and spaces like Substack are some of the places that are allowing us to have these conversations. And it's important to have that, build community there. I think that's the biggest thing to say, right?
Yes, it's about community and it's so hard to find that. And then I hate to admit this, like, please, if anyone is listening, in the links below in the show notes, there are ways to get on my email list. That is going to be your number one way to stay in contact with me should something happen. I hate that I even have to say that. I've spent money advertising on Instagram and it's getting scary.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to plug the emails here in the bottom. Please go down, join the email list because it's the only way that we can make sure that you, the audience, continues to hear the things that we have to say and you get what you want from us.
Yes.
As educators, it's so please sign up.
I mean, and we've worked really hard. There's so many freebies that I offer. I have my reading list, my BDSM checklist, like the yes, no, maybe list, which I painstakingly created a PDF document that you can fill in easily. Like literally, I think I spent in the end 15 hours making all the little boxes and making it like what it is. I could cry thinking about it.
Listen, we work really hard to get you guys these resources, okay?
Yes, because I want people. I know Brenda put in so much other time doing all of the other parts, but I was nearly in tears.
Not just me.
Yeah, no, but making the PDF version of it, I was like, this is insanity. But so Blood, Sweat, and Tears goes into this. So it's a free checklist. And I've never seen anybody else offer a free checklist that could be done on a PDF and clicked through. So we're not talking an Excel spreadsheet that you mark off and print. This can be filled in and printed out on a PDF, all fitting on the page properly. I'm very proud of it.
It's a good one. Absolutely. And it's the only way. We've seen different things like this before. Yes, no, maybe lists, it's very simple and they're there to help you get an idea. But what this actually does is it allows you the time to sit with your partner and give them a full picture of where you are. Right. And what you want to try. I can't tell you how many people I talk to who are not in this space. And when I explain what I do, they what do you mean? What do you mean is more things outside of, let's say, missionary? You know what I mean? It's oh my God. Well, under bondage alone, there's this and this and this and this and this and this and this, and when you don't know what possibilities are out there, this document actually helps extremely, to go through and try and find all of this. Honestly, I was overwhelmed with how many options there were under each of the different categories.
I know. And then, not to even mention, this is super embarrassing, but if you did download it more than a month ago, I only had something got messed up. And for sensory, I only had half the list. So then I had to update that. And if you downloaded it more than a month ago, you didn't have this PDF option that you have now. I need to tell more people about this. I am so bad at this. Yeah. So we'll put the link in the show notes so you can download it again. And there's just more options. It's better. New and improved. BDSM checklist.
New and improved.
So Speak Your Desires with Confidence, the reading list, and the BDSM checklist, all three of these people have access to totally free. Just get on the email list and you can have all of them. So that's the industry. That's a look at the industry overall.
Yeah.
So in the next few weeks, I have the cruise coming up. Now that I am in a Dom-Sub relationship, I want to create a new class, and it's basically tapping into your Dom Energy 2.0 because I have been up close and personal with someone who is a full-time dominant. Do you know what I mean? I'm a switch,
Yeah.
and that's part of why I made the course, because it basically, the original one, Tapping into Your Dom Energy 1.0, I made it for switches who struggle to be in the Dom role even though they want to. So it's tips and tricks. Watching a Dom up close and personal and literally taking notes, I study him. Sometimes I ask him questions. I'm like, well, how did you know what I was going to say? How did you know to be like this? And, he answers it. He's very thoughtful in his approach, and it's sort of giving me an updated version of it. So we have Dom 2.0 coming up on April 23rd. I'm going to be going on that cruise. Just more to come all around.
Listen, lots of changes in the last year. The next year is going to be ridiculous, and we're going to have lots of fun doing it. And I'm excited to be a part of it.
All right. So those are all my updates. I am behind on the podcast. By the time this episode comes out, I hope I am safely in Ireland. But follow along on Instagram stories to see where I am and what's going on in my life. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with anyone who might find it interesting. And if you have any questions or topics you'd like me to cover in future episodes, feel free to reach out. Email info@thekinkconsultant.com. Until next time, keep on kinking on.